the outside. We've been trying to do ELOs,
Yes, yeah.
extended learning opportunities for high school kids, and I hope that this fall will be the fall
Good.
we finally get that.
I don't think Deb's doing that.
Mary Shishel entered the waiting room. Okay, so, invite, I guess. No, not Frank. She didn't answer how to do this part. Okay, let's see.
Okay. I'll call the meeting of the Conservation Commission to order, July 20th. And it's a little past 6:30. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Gunther, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And let's have a roll call, starting to my right.
Gunter Hubert.
Barry Connell.
Donald Sagan.
Larry Shessel, remote.
Right, right. So that means any votes we take, we have to do a roll call vote. Okay? So what I'm going to do, because I know, Lionel, you got a kind of a short amount of time, and you've got a long way to travel, haven't you?
Yeah, but it's okay.
It's okay?
I'm happy to stay as long as you.
All right, so let's do a quick agenda review. Yeah, the ROP got put on here. Yeah, rules and procedures. Okay, good. Anybody have any changes to the agenda?
Nope, she put on priority list, so.
Yep, we got the priority list. Larry? Go ahead.
Under any kind of new business, if we have time, very quickly, I'd like to talk about the park over by the covered bridge, Corbin Covered Bridge.
Okay, we'll put that under new business. Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Okay, let's take a look at the, go ahead.
The last thing was to this month, the month we were supposed to have a treasurer's report.
I didn't hear, yeah, Christina was gonna look into that, and
Okay.
she's not here tonight,
We don't
Larry.
have to put it on there. We could put it on, but we'll have to delay it to,
Yeah. Okay.
But what?
Thank you.
So that can go into the minutes, I believe.
All right. Minutes for June 15th, 2022. Any changes or omissions? Very detailed.
I thought they're very complete.
Call for a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept them as written.
I will second that.
All those in favor? Oh, we have to do a roll call.
Gunther Hubert, aye.
Barry Connell, aye.
Don Shagan, aye.
Larry?
Salon.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we'll jump down to new business, and it's our pleasure tonight to have with us Lionel Shute, Sullivan County Director of Natural Resources, and he's going to give us a presentation tonight. And I will say my wife commented he's highly recommended and will be very interesting.
Oh, great.
So, turn it over to Lionel.
Thank you, thanks so much, yeah. Larry, are you able to see me if I sit here, or should I move myself?
We see your stomach right now, Larry. There we go.
So, what- yeah, what
Oh,
do
there
see?
you are. Can you see me, Larry?
Hi Lionel, if it's mostly an audio presentation, I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's just, do you have any visuals?
It is, yeah. I've got one real big visual here, but I'll show it both ways. So I really appreciate being here. Larry encouraged me to come. I had been here about 9 years ago, and it was a different board at that time. And frankly, I did not feel welcome when I came. Yeah, it was sort of shocking. I assumed that Conservation Commission would appreciate, the work that the Conservation District does, but
Yes.
the chair at the time was did not have a positive feeling about my organization. I didn't have any. I don't know why, but it made me think. Well, I'll just wait a while before I come back to Newport.
Well, 9 years, but glad you're back.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very glad to be back. And
This is a very different commission.
Yes.
yes,
It is.
I've heard that. There was a lady, I think, that was on your board, maybe still is, who was involved in some outreach we did around the Mount Sunapee, the old growth there.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I bet it was the woman
Probably
you,
not.
not Linda. The person that was on, that got a lot done, you guys know.
Oh,
Well, there's only Linda Dennis, isn't there?
no, I think he's thinking of a past. You're talking about a past
Yes.
Could
president?
it be Carol Parsnip?
Parsonage, thank you,
Was
yes.
it
Yeah.
Carol Parsnip?
Nancy Parsons.
Nancy, okay, that's right.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nancy.
So that gave me a hint that things had changed. And
Yes.
I just love to take the opportunity to make sure you're fully aware of the resources that I offer to you.
Good.
And that the county offers to all residents of the county.
Mhm.
So I wear two hats. I'm the Director of Natural Resources, which means that I manage the county lands. And the county owns more land than any county in New Hampshire. We have 2,200 acres of land.
Wow.
And so here's a map of our holding. There are 6 parcels. There's the Little Sugar River Tract,
Yep.
County Farm, Stoll, Judkins, Unity Mountain, and Marshall Pond.
Wow.
Have any of you ever been to
No.
any of this land?
Well, I've been to the county farm.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Not in the county form?
Just visiting. Okay.
Have you, Maura?
I've been to the county farm with the Timberland Association when they've had their dinner.
Uh-huh, yep. So that would have been the Ahern building.
Right.
That's our public space. But most people don't know about all this land
No.
that we've got.
No.
And it's beautiful land, it really is.
Mhm.
One of the things I've been
Are
doing...
there trails and things through there?
Yeah, we've got about 9 miles of trails now. So,
Can you see any of this, Larry?
yeah.
I don't know where your camera is.
Yeah, well, that I can kind of see the general, but it's not critical to see the
Okay.
detail.
Yeah. Well, this is all on our website, and
Uh-huh.
we have a management plan for all this land, and we've been developing hiking trails. We have a snowmobile trail that goes through it as well. We manage wildlife, different species of wildlife. We have timber sales. We do a lot with the land. We do education. We bring kids out to Marshall Pond and to some of the other sites. So it's a great resource, and if you're looking for somewhere different to go for a walk, it's a great place. We've got some beautiful views of the Green Mountains in several spots. We've got Marshall Pond, which is a 10-acre pristine pond, one of only 3 in all of Unity, and one of only 2 that are publicly accessible. And I've just heard a couple days ago, a lady was walking on that trail, and there was a bear going for a swim,
Wow.
and he was having a great time, rolling around, carrying on. So I've heard of osprey at that pond, nesting osprey.
Yeah.
There's been moose coming through, so it's really quite nice. So I wanted to make sure you knew about that.
So that's on your county conservation website?
That's the county land. So as the Director of Natural Resources, I manage the land,
Okay.
not managing the
Are
buildings.
there directions on how, like Marshall Pond, how to get there?
Yeah, there's trails right to it. There's a road that will get you to here, and then from there you can walk in.
Okay.
Or if you're more ambitious, you can park here at the county farm and walk all the way on a 4.5-mile trail to bring you to the pond.
I think I'll take the short route.
Yeah.
Is this, are these, all these lands in Unity? Sorry,
They're all in Unity.
they're all in Unity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very close to each other. But that said, there's quite a lot of ecological diversity, and we've got a nice patch of spruce fir forest, like you'd see way up in the White Mountains. We've got sweeter natural communities on the west by the Connecticut River with bitternut hickory and maple leaf viburnum and some plants that you wouldn't see as often. We've got quite a lot of diversity. So, but it's not just about recreation. That's just a small piece of what we do. Another thing that I'd like you to know about is what we call our Eco-Ag Center. And here on the complex, before you get to the nursing home, on your right-hand side, you'll see a sign. And if you turn in there, we have a number of things. We have a very large community garden that's absolutely beautiful. We've got 15 growers, and they're doing a great job. We have outdoor classrooms, both one in the open and one in the forest. We have demonstration high tunnels that we lease out to people
Wow.
for different things. And we have
You
pollinator.
guys know where High Tunnel is?
No.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it's like a greenhouse, but
Greenhouse,
you
yeah.
grow in the ground typically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so one of them is being used to grow native plants from locally collected seed, and the other is being used right now to grow annuals for the bullpen down in Claremont. And we have pollinator gardens as well.
Yes.
We've done a lot of work on promoting pollinator habitat and encouraging people to work with native species primarily to increase that. So the Eco-Ag Center is another resource for anyone from the county. We do classes there, we do workshops and that sort of thing. And we just had a basket making event on Sunday where we had Native Americans, Abnakis, who have been making baskets their whole lives, come out. We harvested black ash trees ourselves, and we had people pounding the logs when they came in to create the slats for the basket making. And then the basket makers were there actually making baskets at the same time. We had the chief of the local Abnaki tribe who is trying to develop a welcoming center in Claremont there to introduce himself to the public. We had a food truck, so we had about 65 people show up. So we
Now, how would we have heard about that? Was it published anywhere?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've got a website, we've got a Facebook site. So if you were connected to us there, that would be one way. If you ever go into the county commissioner's office there, we put stuff on the counter there. We'll have brochures and that sort of thing there.
Good.
So yeah, there are different ways to reach us. And in a perfect world, I feel like if we could be more in touch, there are ways that we can help you with whatever it is that you're working on. And one thing I'd really enjoy seeing would be to connect this board with the Claremont board. They're very active, they're great people too. And, I was thinking on my way over here, we could maybe facilitate some kind of a meal or something like that, where people could get to know each other and compare notes and that sort of thing. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Do you ever do any press releases?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a whole book of articles that we do. We're very close with Patrick Adrian, if you know him.
Oh, yeah, I know Patrick.
Yeah.
He does a lot of nice articles for
Yeah.
us, and we used to work with Archie Mountain a lot until he
Oh, okay.
retired. And we were also with the E-Ticker, but they unfortunately just went out of
Yeah.
business. I've been in touch with Steve Smith here in Newport, the radio guy.
Oh, yeah, Steve's good.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's great, and he's got a real interest in edible plants. So I'm gonna share a lot with him. I was thinking of bringing in some stuff for him to eat, and we could do it on air,
Good.
and he could tell his audience whether he likes it or
He's
not.
dieting now, so.
Is he?
Oh.
That's-
Veggies are good.
Probably might work out well with it.
He's lost a lot of weight.
Depends on how appetizing they are, right?
Oh no, they can be great. I try to only eat the good ones. Yeah,
Don't bring kale.
yeah. No, Indian cucumber root. That's
Oh.
my favorite. I don't know if you've ever had that. That's
No.
nice.
Let's ring a bell.
So that's the county side, and then within the Natural Resources Department is the Conservation District. And the Conservation District goes back to 1946. Every county in New Hampshire has a Conservation District that started around that time. And a lot of times we're the best kept secret, unfortunately.
Mhm.
We're not as good as Cooperative Extension in sort of promoting ourselves. But our focus is similar in that we are involved in local food production, local food promotion, invasive species, soil health, water quality, anything really to do with the outdoors, but those tend to be things that we get involved with. We do a lot of classes. We try to profile innovative agriculture, no-till or hugelkulture, a variety of different ideas and thoughts there. So the Conservation District is what gets me out beyond the borders of the county lands. And really, I'm supposed to serve the entire county. So we try to make sure we're connecting to people in every town in the county as much as possible. And we do have a lot of partners and friends here in Newport, and I'm sure there are ways that we could be helpful to you in that regard.
So what is the mission of the Conservation District?
It's
What's its goal?
The mission, let's see, I should be able to tell you that. I brought these brochures
Good.
to share, and our mission is along the lines of connecting people to appreciation and utilization of natural resources.
Mhm.
Let's see if this has it. It doesn't have the statement, but the three program areas that we're involved with are conservation, support of organizations like yourself,
Mhm.
and promotion. So we're always trying to educate the public about the value of the environment and protect it as much as possible. There's always, unfortunately, a new problem on the horizon. Right now, we're thinking very much about the Japanese jumping workers. If you heard about that, very serious problem. So it tends to change year to year where our focus is, but we try to keep as many balls in the air as we can.
Mhm.
We're always looking for input from people like yourself. So if there's a topic that you need to know more about or you'd like to know more about, if you tell us, we can develop a workshop around that, come give a PowerPoint presentation on it. We can also connect you to regional and national experts as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, public outreach and education are one of the things that we've discussed a lot over the past year. And it's one of the missions, or one of the priorities I'd like to help.
Yes, good.
Set for the board.
Yeah.
For the commission. So
Because-
if we can get involved somehow,
Yeah.
or enlist your help, it might help us in our cause, further our cause.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I do have some brochures for you, so I'm gonna,
We'll
Why
take
don't I
some and
start-
if you
start
need
with you,
some.
Warren, if you
Yeah.
just pass them that way, that would be good. This first one is just basically an explanation about the Conservation District. We're always looking for volunteers. We have about 100 volunteers now, folks that like to come and help us out on a variety of different things. So if you or folks that you work with are interested in helping in some way, let us know, and we'll find a way to make use of your time and hopefully give you something that you want to do. Along those lines, the next one is about the public cidery. So we have a public cidery on the Sullivan County campus in Unity. This is a grinder, a bladder press, if you've ever heard of the Slovakian method of using water power to make ciders.
Cider.
It's not this, you just turn on the water, and the water blows up a balloon inside, pushes the pulp against the walls of a stainless steel sleeve, and out comes the juice. So within,
Wow.
20 minutes, you've got 12 gallons of cider. It's very quick. So we made that into a public resource. We don't charge except for the cost of the jugs. So it's very affordable.
So people bring their apples to
Yes.
you.
They bring their apples, that's all they have to bring. And if they don't have enough apples, sometimes we can scare up some apples for them. We've got an orchard on site that we can pick from. But if folks bring 4.5 milk crates of apples, they'll go home with 12 to 14 gallons of cider, all jugged up, ready for freezing or fermenting or whatever people want to do with it.
You know, it'd be interesting, that Steve. I think he does cider making.
Yeah.
Can you leave a few more of these
Yeah.
with us for the other members? I'm sure Larry would like to get
I
some.
have this one.
Oh, you have that?
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Maybe Candy and Linda, we could grab.
Two
it.
extras here.
No. We
The
could grab
first
some
one.
for
And I'll
them
leave
as well.
in Christina's
Yeah.
office. I'm not sure if they could be sent with me.
All of these are also on our website, but if you ever need more paper ones, they're all available at the Commissioner's office. And I've got 3 brochures here that are about our trails, different trails.
Oh, good.
On county lands, so they've got maps, and makes it easy to find your way around. And then there's just a couple, I didn't know if you'd want many of these. This is about a New Hampshire Envirothon, which is, are you familiar?
Familiar.
Of course you are, yeah.
Thank you.
This is high schools around the entire state that compete against each other in an environmental arena. So they have to identify wildlife, they have to answer forestry questions, they have to think about different challenges. How would you get the invasive species out of here? How would you fix
Yeah.
up the soil? And we have a team that competes from Newport.
He's going to three of these?
Yes.
Stacy Burrows.
Stacy Burrows, yeah.
Yeah, she does a great job, and also Deb at the high school.
Deb Stevens.
Deb Stevens, right, and Sam Nelson.
Yeah.
They're both affiliated with it.
Yeah.
So just want to make sure you're aware of that, since you guys have a team. I think you're the only town in Sullivan County currently that has a team that goes to Envirothon, so that could be something you could support in your own way. And then I also have a brochure here on the pollinator gardens that we set up, which describes the species that we used and that sort of thing.
So, I don't want to jump too far ahead if you've got other
No, that's
things. One of the major things that we're working on as a commission is the natural resources inventory
Okay.
of the area. Can you give any assistance with that?
Yeah, I've done them myself. My background's in forestry and botany, but I also know of consultants that do it all the time.
We had Jeff Littleton.
Yeah, yeah,
From Moosewood Ecological.
he's great. I would always recommend
He
him.
gave us a presentation, and we got him from the Claremont Natural Resources Inventory. He did that for them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so how much land are you guys dealing with? Is this, I assume
Well-
this is town-owned land?
Correct.
Yes, yeah, town forest,
Well, the natural resources inventory would be town-wide.
townwide,
And.
not just, we won't, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, but Larry's right. It's not just limited to the town's lands.
I see.
It's the natural resources of Newport. Claremont is all encompassing their entire town, and they had a inventory of all their wetlands done,
Oh,
which is one of the things I'd actually like to discuss tonight, because our master plan alludes to there being about 2,400 acres of unidentified wetlands in Newport.
oh,
And of course, it's our purview to oversee that. But none of us are wetland scientists, and none of us are really, I think, skilled enough or educated enough in that to make a decision as to whether something is or isn't a wetland. So I think it's very important as part of the natural resources inventory to identify those wetlands. Is that something that you
I can help.
can help with?
I can generate some maps for you through GIS that would highlight your wetlands. There are different systems that have already been done as far as mapping. There's the National Wetlands Inventory, the NWI, which is considered fairly definitive. I mean, no one layer in the GIS is going to be absolutely perfect, but it'll get you 90 to 95% of the way as far as knowing where your wetlands are located.
Just so I can show or tell you and maybe everybody else where I got that number from. The master plan says there are 728 acres of wetlands identified in Newport that are in the National Wetlands Inventory. There's another 2,400 acres that are based on the Sullivan County Soil Survey.
Right.
So that's just, you're saying there's probably wetlands there, if I understand that correctly.
Exactly. I was just going to mention that myself, is that one thing I do is I'll look at NWI, I'll look at the National Wetlands Inventory, but I'll cross-reference that with the soils, because sometimes you can pull up the poorly and very poorly drained soils. They'll pop up for you, color-coded, and you can overlay that right on the NWI, and that's where you're going to see some variability. And so it's not a perfect thing. The soils may be mapped incorrectly, or the exact boundaries may not be perfect. But again, it's a way of understanding sort of generally in the town, where are the wetlands clustered, where are they located, what are they affiliated with. Many times a wetland system is going to be connected to a stream, but in some cases it could be a perched wetland where it's just out by itself, and those are the ones that sometimes get missed entirely. We have some wetlands on county lands that don't map out as wetlands because they're perched wetlands. They're actually seeping from below, and the scale that most of these GIS layers are developed in is usually larger and always benefits from some ground truthing. But again, if you're starting from scratch, I really think the GIS information will be plenty to work with.
So would that stand up in court if that were to come to fruition, where we said that this is a wetland, you can't develop it? Would that stand up in court, that it's just based on the Sullivan County Soil Survey?
No, not the soils. That would never stand up in court, but the NWI, well, could. The National Wetlands Inventory is considered definitive. And in the state's GIS, which is free, I mean, one thing I could do for you guys would be to give you a quick tutorial on how to access, how to utilize the free state's GIS system, which
Granite View? Is that what
Granite
it's
View.
called?
Are you familiar?
I've looked at it a little bit, but using it is a different story.
Yeah.
It's
So
a little tricky.
I'd be glad to do that if that's something you would like. We could pull it up on something like a big screen here, and just show you how to get around and what these different layers are based on, and which ones would be considered, definitive, and which ones would not. LiDAR is another really valuable resource in GIS. That's the satellite imagery. It's gotten so good that you can find old roads that have not been used in 150 years. You can find paths that haven't been used in 100 years. You can find stone walls that have since been buried because the satellite actually goes under the ground.
Okay, Patrick.
It's incredible.
So, can you, at some point, give us, here's what I'm thinking, guys, that before we jump into hiring, I want to know a little more about what we're really looking at, and what we want. So this, to me, would be a good start if we could gather this information, come together and just examine it and see. So we could, then if we hire somebody, we can say, here's what we have so far. Because I think that's probably all they're going to do. They're going to go out and hunt for wetlands.
Right, no, not at that scale. I mean, we haven't really talked about this yet, but if you're looking for an understanding of wetlands at the level of the entire town, that's a desktop exercise. It would cost $1 million to have somebody physically evaluate every single wetland in the town. So I just don't think that's going to happen. And
We got about $12,000.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the more I've thought about this, the more I think that every time the subject of wetlands comes up, Christina, we had an incident in town where there was a complaint that somebody was developing a wetland. And Christina had told that person, not the complainant, but the one that was actually doing the work in the wetland, told that person that the wetlands were not on her map. That doesn't mean it wasn't a wetland.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're called out to go talk to these people as a complaint. Gunther and I both are, well, geez, we don't know if it's a wetland, so we can't really provide any real information. So,
Yeah.
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
looking at the map here in the master plan.
Yeah.
And the area where we visited, it's listed as poorly drained soils. So, but versus, having something, national wetlands inventory, that's much more obviously definitive.
Yeah, and it is as a mapping tool. As far as understanding yourself how to delineate or how to recognize a wetland, you could absolutely do that if you have that interest. It's a
What if we called you?
3 to 5 day class.
What if we called you and said,
Oh.
Lionel, can you
Well-
come with us? Is this a wetland?
on a Sunday afternoon.
I could get you part of the way there. I'm not a certified wetland scientist, and they would bridle if I were to start going around saying that's a wetland, that's not a wetland. But there's a course that anyone can take, which discusses the New Hampshire method of wetland delineation. If there's somebody on your board that might be up for some continuing ed, that would be a neat thing to do. You'd then have sort of in-house resources for that kind of work. Again, if you did that training, you also would not be a certified wetland scientist. However, you would know exactly what the basis is for determining wetlands. You'd have a very good sense of whether it was a
How long
wetland
is
or
the
not.
course?
Sorry?
How long is the course?
3 to 5 days. Yeah, and I did it years ago. I did it about 30 years ago now.
And
It's-
it's a course you have to go to?
Yeah, you go to it. They probably are doing it online these days, but it's something that Cooperative Extension makes available for wetland delineation. It comes up every year, so it's always there. It comes down to 3 factors. It's plants, so you would know which are the wetland obligate plants, the plants that need wet soils in order to survive. It's soils, and it's redox potential. So you're looking at, once you dig your hole, have you got oxidation showing? Do you have rust, basically?
Yeah.
If you have rust, then you've got some wet things happening on almost a year-round basis. So
Is it Redox?
redox, R-E-D-O-X, redox potential.
Okay.
And it's for reduction of oxides.
Right.
It's
Okay.
abbreviation,
That makes
reduced
sense.
oxides, yeah. So there are many ways to go, and you should just figure out what would be best, what would be best. I think, I'd be glad to show you the GIS. I think that will be a tool for you, not just with wetlands, but with many other things as well, all to do with the natural resources. And
Now, you mentioned, Lionel, you could bring up the maps for us.
yeah, I can. I can. In fact, that could be part of it. If you wanted to do something like that, if there was a way to connect a computer to,
There is.
okay, then I could be here typing away and show you in real time the landscape of the GIS, how to get in and out of it, and then we could focus on wetlands specifically,
Good.
if that'd be helpful.
Yeah, no, that sounds great, actually.
Okay.
Be a
Now-
good start, good place to start.
Yeah, we're looking at as much information about the natural resources in the area that we can get at a very low cost.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying if we could begin to scratch the surface ourselves,
Yeah.
when it comes to hiring, we could say, we've already done this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know dollars to donuts, that's what they would do.
That's right.
And so, we'd
and-
be paying them $12,000 to do the same thing.
Yeah, and if
We
you
can do it,
if you
yeah.
do that stuff, if you do that low-hanging fruit, and you've got some dollars available, you can target them on some more higher-end value.
Yeah.
Like we want to know what's in this place, and we really want to know. We think we have rare plants over here, or we think we have a very special wildlife habitat, or what's the connectivity? Are you familiar with what's that called? Quabbin to Cardigan? Quabbin to Cardigan?
No.
It's called Q to C for short, and basically it's a wildlife corridor that they've been trying to build by conserving land for almost 30 years now. And it goes from the Quabbin Reservoir in Massachusetts up to Cardigan Mountain. And so if you're driving from here to Washington, you'll go by the headwaters of the Ashwillet that the
Yep.
Forest Society bought. That was part of the Q2C project. So having sort of an awareness of that regional context where Newport fits in that scheme could be valuable. This is all low-hanging fruit, free stuff. You can do it yourself. Another one that I really recommend, if you haven't done it already, is to go to the Natural Heritage website, and you can see what rare species are already documented for Newport.
We just go to the national...
New Hampshire Natural Heritage Bureau, or NHB. They're out of Concord, New Hampshire.
Good.
And there's a document in their publications that is rare species by town. And you open that up, and it's alphabetized, so you go down to Newport, and that will show you all of the plants and animals that have been documented as existing in Newport. Some of them are gone. They're extirpated. They haven't been seen in 20, 50 years, so they'd be called historical. But that's kind of interesting, too, to see what you may have lost over the years.
But I think that, I've been to that website, but I don't remember, does that show you where those species are?
No,
Because that's more important than the what, in a
true.
way, because
Yeah.
the where tells us what land is important to protect.
I agree.
Right.
It's a political question, and unfortunately, the folks that are very concerned about losing rights as landowners have prevailed on this question entirely. The debate has always been, if you don't know where it is, how are you going to protect it?
Right.
And the response to that is, well, if the government knows where it is, whether it's the town or the state or the federal, and they could come back at me and tell me that I can't build my house or I can't do this
Yeah.
or that. So I don't want anybody to know. And so that's where we're at. There are ways that you can maybe move forward on that. It's possible, and I don't know, but it's possible that if you got in touch with Natural Heritage and you said that you were the Conservation Commission, that you had no interest in violating property rights, but you do need to know better where these things are located, they might be able to give you a map of the town that shows these features with a mask, with a circle around it, and they could decide how big that circle needs to be. Maybe it's a half mile, maybe it's a mile, whatever it needs to be so that it couldn't be attributable to any particular landowner. And then you'd have the benefit of that information. They have done that in the past. I don't know if they're doing that these days, but that would be one way. And the other way is if you could get landowners to voluntarily be willing to either tell you or show you where their stuff is. Because some people don't feel that way. Some people are very proud of the fact that they have rare stuff.
Or if people knew that they had this on their property, they might be willing to participate in protection of it.
Yeah.
So that would be the part of public outreach, public education.
Yeah, you could do a beautiful
But we
job.
wouldn't be able to do that without knowing where it is.
But you could do a really interesting outreach. I don't know if the town's ready for it, but you could actually put out the word. Conservation Commission is trying to find out more about the natural resources of Newport. If you're a landowner with at least X number of acres, and you're willing to share with us what you have, join us, and we're going to put in one request for information with the approval of all these landowners, and then you'll get back the information, and it'll tell you exactly what's there. All they need is the landowner's approval, and then they're happy to share. So landowners can always get this information for free at any time. But for your purposes, you could maybe go one step higher and just say, if you don't mind trusting us, we'll find out about more than just one property.
Well, that's something that may be of value, writing an article on for the Newport Times. Just to put it out there so people might be made aware that they could potentially have something like this on their property.
Yeah,
I mean, if they're not aware, they're not going to know that it's
Right?
there to protect.
That's
They
right.
just think they're weeds.
that's right. And then the other piece to all this is there's a lot of stuff that's out there that's rare that nobody knows yet,
Yeah.
including Natural Heritage. They don't know everything. There are many parts of Newport that have never been looked at, and there are new discoveries happening all the time. So that's where, if you've got a few dollars, and you wanted to get into more depth, then you bring in someone like Jeff Littleton, and you'd say, we don't really want general information about the whole town. We want specific information about this place.
This place, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So those are a few thoughts.
So what other aspects of the inventory? We've talked about wetlands, talking about rare species. What other things would you, in general, be looking at?
Well, I think we're strictly talking about natural resources.
resources.
So would recreation fall into that, or it would not?
I think natural resources that provide unique recreational opportunity might,
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
like scenic beauty
Yeah.
or.
Scenic views.
Yeah.
Right,
You
exactly.
know,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be great. There is a cultural aspect to this stuff, and I don't know if a master plan has another place where that would come in. So that's another way of reaching more people in town, is if the Conservation Commission is perceived as not just folks that want to protect everything, but folks that also, like to have a scenic view.
Right.
See, the Planning Commission oversees the development of the planning.
To any kind of,
Yeah.
development.
Basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, soils are a good thing to know about, and some of the resources that I'd always look at myself would be gravel deposits, both as a resource for gravel, but also as a habitat indicator. I don't think you have any pitch pine, but you might. If you did, that would be quite remarkable. But if you had a place, I've often wondered with some of these gravel pits, what are the plants up there? You know, it'd be hard to get up to the top end of it, but it'd be interesting to look around. The plants could be different. There could even be rare butterflies up there. So anyway, gravel would be one. Another would be prime agricultural soils. That's a good one.
I think
And
our master plan has a map of that.
good.
I'm pretty sure it has primary agricultural.
That's
I believe it does.
And large blocks of open space for habitat, kind of like you were talking about the Cloven to Cardigan,
Uh-huh.
to provide corridors of large land blocks. So those things could be identified as part of the natural resources inventory,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be great.
where zoning might keep that intact, right?
Absolutely could. That also can get into some political hot water, but there are many communities that are wrestling with that, you know, that, I don't know that, I think Newport's still pretty good in terms of how much open space you've got, but there are other communities where it's getting really precious and they have to worry about that. Like, if we don't do something now, we're just not gonna have it.
Well, that's why Lebanon's Conservation Commission is so active.
Yeah, very different orientation up there.
A lot of development up there.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing a fair amount of development
Yes.
starting in the community.
My road, our road, we
Yeah.
got 3 new homes.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think that was from COVID, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there
think
was
it had something to do
a
with it.
Well,
turnover.
it's this real estate boom that we're going through, but I think Christina one time said that we've seen more starts, building
Right.
starts in Newport in 2022 or 21
Oh,
than in
Years.
Oh,
any
yeah,
previous time or many decades, I don't
Huh.
know. So the pressure's mounting,
Yeah.
little by little.
yeah. Well, and a lot of times it's the newer folks that move into town that are inclined toward conservation. So if you're looking to, you know, grow your group, that's one way to do outreach as well. Be welcoming of those people, and you know, you don't want crazy folks that are going to come in and, you know, try to turn this into New York City or something like that. But or the opposite. But sometimes it's a great way for someone new to sort of find their way into town is through its conservation commission. But other resources that would maybe be valuable, I don't know if you can find this one or not, is old growth. Have you got any old growth forests? If you guys haven't seen the old growth on Mount Sunapee yet, you owe it to yourself.
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
Isn't that great? 500-year-old trees. We cord the trees. We know that they're 500 years old.
Very unique.
Remarkable.
Yeah,
They're
Sotheby's redoing their NRI.
Are they? Yeah. So you know, Newport's got some pretty wild spots, and so it'd be great to know if you had any undeveloped areas or really wild areas. Wildlife in general would be good to know about. How's your moose doing? You give Fish and Game a call. Ask them. Say, how are we doing for moose? How are we doing for bobcat?
We're doing real well for turkeys.
We got bobcats and moose up
Yeah,
there
I know
too.
we do. Yeah.
Bears too.
Yeah, bears.
Yeah. Turkeys,
Yeah.
yes, running amok
Turkeys,
right
you
now.
had all of them on your lawn the other day.
Well, they're down across
Below
from Frank
now.
and Ann's
Yeah.
and running across
Yeah.
our neighbors, yeah.
They-
They love our
they-
neighborhood, you know.
That's great. They
Yeah.
might be able to give you some numbers even. You know, what have you got for fisheries? Do you have you have cold water and warm water fisheries? So where are they? And are they open to the public or not? I don't know how far you want to go there, but if nobody else in the master plan is talking about access, then that's an opening for you to share that with the public. What else?
Did Larry disappear?
Oh,
Did did he?
he did.
Larry, he's off the video.
Okay. Well, that's probably enough for now.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have a lot
We got some
of other
good
things
ideas.
to talk about, I'm sure. But I can come back. What would be a good time for that, do you think?
Well, we meet third Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
Wednesday.
No?
Or didn't you just say?
He said third Wednesday.
The third
Third
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
There's Larry,
Yeah.
Larry's back.
There's Larry.
Here he is, yep.
My battery was running low, I had to go get the cord.
Oh, good. I was afraid I scared you off, Larry.
So what I think we need is like, just at the next meeting to just talk about proceeding with this stuff, with dividing up tasks, and then having you come back. I really want to get into some of these things that we could do ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And some of it's been done, as you can see right there. A lot of it's done.
This is the prime agricultural soils and statewide important soils, a little map.
That's
This is from the master plan.
Right.
This is the master
Yeah.
plan.
But it's funny how many places I've seen that, but the master plan repeatedly states that we should be developing a natural resources inventory.
Right.
Right.
It says it many times.
Yeah.
And redo our master plan.
Aquifers would be another.
Oh,
Yep,
Yes.
Yeah,
yep,
we really need
aquifers
to
are very important. If
look
you
at
have
that.
any, if they're
Yeah.
not contaminated.
Yeah.
Some of them are. Yeah, yeah. And, yeah, once you know what you have, then you know how to try to keep those things intact. Part of it, though, really, is that a lot of things aren't known yet in Newport. So coming up with a strategy, where to go first and why. Why? What do you want to find? What are you hoping to find, and what will you do if you find it? Are you going to protect that land? Are you going to do you want to partner with Colby Sawyer on research? You can do that. There's great opportunities there. I do that. You could bring in kids for inventory in the summers, which is a great summer job for a college kid who's studying natural resources. And you could do research, like scientific research. You could get involved in climate change if you wanted to. You could provide some information and some outreach around how the town is changing now because of climate change. But that, if you're wrestling with your NRI, that's probably going to have to come
later.
More icing on the
Yeah.
cake.
See, I think we need to have a discussion about this, because you brought up wetlands. That's a good area to start with that process. And then choose some others like, that could be easy for us to access. And then we may want to make a decision, okay, we can't do this by ourselves, we got to hire somebody.
Yeah, or partner too.
Yeah.
There are ways to get help without spending money. Takes a little bit more in terms of outreach, but there are so many people out there that are excited by this stuff. Landowners absolutely love it. Because people could get so proud of what they have. Once they understand what they have. Yeah. So.
See, I think we need to take a look at our town forest, and are there things that need to be harvested in
We have the meadow,
Meadows End?
yeah.
Yeah.
And they are the ones that are supposed to go through and do the selective cutting and the land.
Is that on the Gilman Pond watershed?
It's
No.
all of the town.
We don't
It's
have,
all over the town.
Well, Gilman Pond, I've seen one for Gilman.
They are doing
They've done their
Right.
2 or 3 cuts.
Yeah.
And I know the Barton tract had one done.
Right.
It's supposed to be, according to the deed, it's supposed to be updated every 5 years. And I don't know when it was done last. But is that what you're referring to, is the Barton tract?
Yeah, all of the conservation land owned by the town.
I think that,
It was done.
I think Meadows End serves as the town's forest
Right.
management company,
Right.
which they do for us as well, for Sullivan County. So I like them very much. They're very good.
well, I think, yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
Jeremy's really.
Jeremy Turner and Laura French.
So can I ask a quick question, though? You touched on climate change, and one of my observations has been that so much of New Hampshire forest is logged. It's in some stage of recovery.
Right.
A lot of it's in a very early stage of recovery.
Yes.
And when it comes to climate change, what is the general consensus on forest succession and older forests?
Just in terms of what species you might see, or?
What benefit? So is there a benefit to an older forest? I've been reading.
Oh, absolutely.
There was an article in in the Valley News this past week about how there's a program that's actually going to pay landowners to not
Not to
harvest
cut,
their land.
right.
Because it captures more carbon.
That's right, and that's exactly right. So it's unfortunately, it's a myth that's going to take years to finally break. It's something that I was indoctrinated with when I was studying forestry, this idea that harvesting trees is somehow good for the climate, and the argument that they were making back in the late 80s and early 90s was that when you cut an old tree and 5 little trees grow up underneath that, they're going to grow so fast that they're going to take up more carbon than that big tree would take up. That has been proven to be wrong from a couple hundred studies around the world where they have measured the carbon sequestration of trees. And what they've learned is that there is no limit to how much carbon a tree is able to sequester. Because even if the tree itself doesn't need that carbon, because they're taking in the carbon to build wood, which is why the young tree is taking in a lot of carbon, but that young tree is just taking the carbon in for the above ground portion. For the below ground portion, it's happening all the time. Roots are constantly being born, growing, dying. But what happens is a tree will take in maximum amount of carbon, and if it doesn't need it, it's going to put it in the soil all around its roots, and it's going to stay there indefinitely. And it's that ability of trees to sequester carbon in the soil that is actually the key to trying to solve climate change. So the truth of this is that no timber harvesting now is good from a climate standpoint. It's always a trade-off. Whenever you harvest trees, you are reducing the amount of carbon that patch of ground is capable of taking in. And it has to recover, and the recovery is usually 50 years or so before the leaf area index, those leaves, are able to maximize that space at all those different levels, the top of the canopy, the mid canopy, low canopy. To get that level of complexity takes a long time. So I don't know when people are going to generally understand this, but it is true.
Well, I think just the fact that you're here telling us that is good, because you're spreading the word.
Yeah.
Because I just see the attitude towards forests seem to me to be, forest is a cash cow, and let's harvest it. That's what's the best benefit from it, is harvest it. And I don't believe that. I'm not a proponent of that.
Right. The other thing about harvesting trees, which is really unfortunate, is that because of climate change, trees are getting sicker. They're not doing well. And insects and diseases are coming in which are able to kill them in ways that they never could before. As those trees are being attacked and dying off, what's coming up next is not the same thing. And a lot of times what's coming up is a lot of invasive plants. And invasive plants can come in so thickly that they can actually prevent trees from coming back. So you can have a forest, you take the trees out, and now you have a shrub woods, which is mostly glossy buckthorn or Japanese knotweed, some invasive species, and the trees just can't make it through that. And so it's a very serious thing.
And those don't support wildlife either.
Not as well, yeah. I mean, the birds can eat some of that fruit, but yeah. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and there is a role for protecting forests for what they call Forever Wild. And there's an organization called the NWT. Is it New England? New England Wild? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot. Well, I'm sorry, I haven't. Anyway, it's a wonderful organization that specializes in forever wild easements, and they're up to 20,000, 30,000 acres now throughout New England. Um, So that is something that's starting to come online. Vermont is just now allowing people to enter the current use program and not manage their trees, but only in certain cases. So,
Now, when you have like, we have like 16 acres at our house, the wooded area, is it wise or is it worthwhile to manage the forest by removing the dying or decaying trees?
you can, yeah, it depends what your goals are. If you're trying to maximize your timber, then yes, that's what you do. If you're trying to maximize your wildlife habitat, then you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Some bird, or some animal species
Woodpeckers have
require,
pecked one of our trees to death.
they
but
require those
Sounds like
dead
they-
trees.
They do,
That's
those are hotels for animals. And then when the tree falls over, it's a whole other hotel for amphibians, for insects, for all kinds of things. And if you had a mycologist here, somebody that specializes in mushrooms, they would tell you that you shouldn't cut because they want all those dead trees to produce more mushrooms. So it really depends on what it is that you're after. If you want timber trees, then yeah, get those guys out of there. But if you want something else, then you might want to keep them.
One of those things I thought I'd ask, and I see them when I go down the hill, okay, is this something you should get rid of, or is it,
So
leave them alone?
what do you folks think about having Lionel, if you're available, to come back, not next meeting, but the meeting after?
I'd like to see it be a special meeting myself, because I think we're talking.
And invite the public?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
Get out
mind.
and try to.
I think we're talking about the commission doing some of this ourselves, which is all well and good, and I'm happy to participate, but it's going to take extra effort. It's beyond the scope of our monthly meetings.
Yeah.
And that means people have to commit time. So I'm more than happy to have Lionel come back. I think it'd be
Yeah.
great, but I think it would be best to have a special meeting.
Okay.
And put some effort into this. We're all gonna have to
So
put
we
some effort
can
into it.
discuss that tonight.
Sure.
Okay, terrific. Great. Well,
I'd be in favor also leaving it open-ended so that we actually, set the goals for what we want to accomplish prior, the work,
Good point, Larry.
Yeah.
and have enough, so that we're not pigeonholed to 2 months and we haven't done half the work we wanted to do to be prepared.
Mm-hmm. Good.
great. Yeah, well, I'm at your disposal, so however I can help, and it doesn't even have to be about anything we've talked about tonight. If anything comes up for you environmentally that I can be a help with, just give me a call. I do have a business card.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Business card.
Yeah.
Get loose with that.
I just have one, but,
Give it to a chair.
Are you familiar with that town common?
yeah, right here? Yeah, sure. It's a great resource for the
We just
market.
put in new trees in there.
We put in some more trees?
Well, we cut down some.
Uh-huh.
We had an arborist come in and told us what to cut. So it's been cut, and we put new trees in, but now they're putting in, and I hope some people are listening to this, they're putting in benches with cement. It's not gonna hurt the trees any, is it?
It depends. I mean, are they putting it right on top of the tree?
No.
No, it's not
Next to
gonna
it.
corner anything, yeah.
Okay, good.
The biggest issue over there is soil compaction.
That's what.
That's what we're talking
Okay.
about. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, so that's why I think some of our members are very concerned to see that there were going to be concrete pads put in place. There's a number of them, at least half a dozen, if not
more than that, I think.
8 to 10. Yeah, so, the town is very proud of its trees on the common,
Uh-huh.
and the Conservation Commission manages them for years. At this point, we're being told we're being boxed out of that.
Oh,
So the only thing we had to say in as far as the new trees are concerned is to whether the species,
uh-huh,
and we chose natives,
uh-huh.
and he
Great.
recommended some, I think they're red oaks or some other,
Good, good.
I can't remember exactly.
Oak's a good choice.
I'm not willing to give up on the fact that we shouldn't be participants in the management of it.
don't see why it can't be a joint effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, but that's another battle. But I was just wondering, I want to make sure, because I did bring that up and didn't get a very good reception about it.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't say categorically that a cement pad is gonna hurt a tree. I mean, the cement eventually will give off a little bit of lime.
Right.
And that won't hurt the tree either.
Mhm.
Doesn't it do the same as compaction though?
Well,
I mean, isn't it somewhat similar to?
in some ways, it's better because it's preventing a continuous compaction. And so compacted soils can take years to finally loosen up naturally. You can fluff them up yourself, but if you don't, then it can take 100 years because you've got the snow and that's working its way through. The frost is kind of finally expanding things. You've got worms and other things that are going to open it up. And so if you put cement on top, you're putting a cap on that. Some of those processes will continue to happen under the cement.
100%.
And that soil can recover to some extent in ways that if you were marching on it, it couldn't. But that's a bit of a stretch because we're talking pretty far down.
Now, you immediately mentioned compaction on the common.
Yeah.
What have you heard about?
Well, it's obvious. I mean, you go there and you see the bare spots and all of that. That's a tough spot. That's what they call a high-use area, right?
Yeah.
So
They
that
put a
high
skate-
use,
Put ice on it every year and skate on it. We aren't going to take that away.
yeah, I mean, there isn't much you can do really. If you had 3 years or 5 years that you could take everybody off of it, you'd gently loosen it up, you'd aerate it, you'd reseed it to grass, you'd mow that grass for a year or two before you let anybody walk on it so it could really...
Should it be aerated every year?
To the
now?
extent, yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
Well, aeration is part of the management plan that our arborist
Mentioned.
recommended, you know.
That's a fun thing that you guys could do. You could get some of those shoes that you put on that have the
Just walk around
spikes
with those on, yeah.
and put
Put
them,
on your golf shoes and.
hand it
Yeah.
out, hand it out to
No,
people.
I don't have, my golf shoes are the plastic.
Oh.
Well, I was thinking, maybe we could have the Newport Golf Club bring their aerator down and run it over the common.
Yeah.
They aerate the fairways.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that'd be good, yeah. And they've got some new grass varieties now that are tougher, you know, that are really made for high-use areas. I'm sure that the grasses that you've got over there are pretty old and,
Yeah.
you know, if there was any reseeding happening, that would be a good thing to think about. You know, what should we be reseeding this
So we
way?
are trying to limit car traffic on there. It used to be at the farmer's market.
Oh, really? You
They'd all
drive right up on it?
Drive right up on it. And we're trying to say you can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's a great market, and it's a really important resource for the whole surrounding area. I lived in Washington for years, and at one time I sold some of my stuff there, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. So, any other wisdom you need to depart to us right now?
No,
Okay.
this has
So-
been a great conversation.
Yeah, it's been helpful, very helpful for us. And now we just need to, you know, you take in all this information, then you need to decide, okay, what can we do and work on that will get done instead of this expansive
That's right.
look at it.
That's right, and you don't beat yourselves up. You
No.
guys are volunteers, you're giving yourself, this is your gift to the town. You know, Joseph Campbell, this old anthropologist, used to say, follow your bliss. And it's something that I try to do in my work too, which is, you know, do what gives you pleasure.
Mhm.
Because if you're doing a whole lot of stuff that you hate or, you know, no one's going to really benefit from that. So there's so much to do. There's so much to do that we can all just pick what we want to do and do that really well. And then I think that's the best approach myself. So.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you guys are taking this job very seriously.
Well, I'll tell you, these guys, it's a breath of fresh air to have.
No
the
pun
new-
intended?
Right. Yeah, it's good, Barry. Yeah, to have these people here that, I mean, we've already got out, marked trails, put up signs, help with the rec department. These guys went out last Saturday and did some work up on the pinnacle in terms of cutting
Scenic-
back.
Scenic view,
Yeah.
Oh, great.
expand that.
Yeah. That, it's good. Yeah.
Let me throw in one last one thing. I do encourage everybody to get out to the county farm sometime. Those community gardens are beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a wetlands with a boardwalk and a picnic table. We picnicked out there. It's a beautiful spot. And Lionel, how can I get the emails from the Conservation District, kind of the July What's Happening newsletter kind of thing?
Yeah, I could add,
How would the remainder, any of the commissioners who don't get that, how would they be able to get on the emails on what's happening?
I could add them as individuals. I could also,
Good.
if you had a commission email, we could add that as well on our list. Yeah, I don't know if you have that.
Town may not allow us to do
I think it'd be better to,
So, yeah.
that. Individual would be good.
Be glad to
individual,
share.
I think would be
If
better.
anyone
yeah.
wants to, if you want to tell me right now, I can take.
Sure.
it with
You
me.
want to write a blank piece of paper? Lee?
I do.
Okay, let's just write our email.
Write mine on here?
Emails are great. They're really informative on what's happening at the
Yeah.
county.
Yeah. We have quite a mailing list now. We're up to, I think, 450 now.
Yeah. Now, I get the New Hampshire Conservation Commission, the newsletter that comes out from them.
In New Hampshire Association
Yeah,
of
and I wanna
Conservation.
I want to make sure you guys are getting it.
I get the emails.
Yeah.
I signed up a while back, yeah. Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
do you get involved with that? New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions?
what about?
Do you get involved in that at all?
Not much.
You work primarily with the Conservation
Yeah, I mean,
Commission in Sullivan County.
yeah, I mean, I've often thought that there's a natural
Thank you.
relationship between conservation commissions and conservation districts.
Sure.
Because conservation districts are at the county level. If you had a conservation commission member that wanted to go even further out and be more expansive in what they do, I could see someone going from the commission to the district.
Thanks, Maura.
I could see someone, I could see them partnering with each other on projects very naturally. But as far as at that level, at the Concord level, it seems like their focus is mostly about legislation, from what I've seen. The energy seems to be about, these bills, they're tracking bills, they're concerned about wetlands laws or shoreline protection, that sort of thing. So I haven't had many opportunities to partner with the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions. But when I first came in, I was thinking to myself that if there was a chance for you guys to meet with the Claremont Conservation Commission,
I've often thought of that, yeah.
That'd be
I do
really-
know a couple.
Well, how do we set that up?
we could just do it. I could tell them the same thing, and then put you guys together, and we could do something together. You could do it without me. We could open it wider to any are there other conservation commissions in the
Sunapee.
in the county?
Yes.
Sunapee? Yeah. I don't even know. I know we don't have all. I know Washington has.
I think that would be a good goal to bring conservation groups together. And I'll tell you this, here in Newport, in the past, the commission has come together, pitched about that, pitched about that, but then they go out and survey the town conservation lands. That's about it.
Yeah.
We're a whole different beast right now. We're really trying to move out and do some positive things in terms of conserving what we have.
That's great. That's great.
And we do step on inadvertently, because we don't know even that we're doing it, stepping on toes from a political standpoint, but
Right. Right.
and I'm not afraid to say that. I
Yeah.
say it.
No, that's all right.
We don't hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
Conservation commissions don't have a lot of legal authority,
Right.
so any toes you step on are just a temporary phenomenon. And it's more about everybody playing nice in the sandbox, I mean, you guys are thinking about aspects of the town that are important for everyone and for everybody having a good time, being glad they live here. So I hope you're appreciated. You should be appreciated. Because I know you're donating your time.
Well, that's why I think public outreach and public relations are so important.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
Yeah, great.
Well, thank you, Lionel.
Well, thank you so
Lionel,
much.
thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Greatly appreciated.
Great.
Yes. And a lefty as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thanks again, Lionel.
thank you. Yeah, terrific.
Thank you. Come over here.
And I'll tell Deb she was right.
Thanks, Maura.
Yeah, and don't forget your glasses.
Oh, I would have. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Thanks, Lionel.
Bye, Larry. Thank you.
Thanks for arranging that, Larry.
Yes, thank you, Larry.
Yeah, that worked out well.
Welcome, yeah, he's
Excellent.
pretty dynamic.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Give it, a lot of food for thought. Okay, so let's take a look at the agenda again. Sections of the master, Conservation Committee, Commission sections of master plan review. So we began to look at that last time and do some no, that's under rules of procedure. The master plan review. Now, this is what, all I have right now is this.
Oh, geez.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Want to run it down to him?
He was running out.
Oh, he was running out, okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe Larry.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Can you communicate with Lionel?
I
Yeah,
can.
about what?
I get it.
Oh, you
Give
have
me
his
that
card.
paper and I'll send it to him.
Contact
Yeah.
information.
Just give it to me and I'll send it to him tonight.
Perfect. Good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm out at the county complex, generally.
I know you have his email address. You're in Rangeley. What are you talking about?
Are ya?
I'll be there next week, so.
Oh, next week.
But Lionel, my experience is he's not as good at returning individual emails, but the Conservation District at Sullivan County NH is sort of the general email for the department. He has one or two others in that department.
All right. Well, I'll try this one first and I'll also send it to the county, Sullivan County, no, that won't work.
Conservation District
Yeah,
at Sullivan County NH dot, I think it's .com.
okay. You sure it's not a .gov?
Or-
Well, it seems unusual that it wouldn't be a .gov, but I'll get that to you in a minute.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah, Conservation District at Sullivan County NH.gov, you're right, .gov.
Conservation Commission or Committee?
Conservation District
District, yeah.
at Sullivan County NH.gov.
All right, thank you. Okay, so,
Yeah.
under the master plan review, how do we want to approach this, John?
Well, I have a question. And a comment. So, we were told by, I think this, Larry, was before you came on board, we were told by Christina that the planning board said certain portions of the master plan are, they belong to the Conservation Commission.
Yep.
So let them
Yeah,
have
the
it.
natural resources
All right.
part of it, yeah.
Do you remember that? Or you're making a face, so I'm assuming
Yeah,
that.
I just, the only thing I remember is that they said that that was Conservation Commission, we're gonna focus on this. They didn't say to give it to the Conservation Commission.
I'm not sure I understand the distinction.
Okay, the distinction is, we don't wanna work on that, because it's not in our purview. We'll work on these aspects.
So they're not working on it, but they don't necessarily expect us to work on it. Is the difference? Okay, I see the difference. Right. So if we want something done with it, we have to step up to the plate. is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So a comment it's been bothering me since I heard it, is that the planning board discussed the master plan with the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission. And if we're supposed to be involved in doing this, I'd like to know why we don't have the same opportunity or why we weren't invited. to that meeting.
It's my understanding that they hadn't looked at it, and they didn't realize how much was in the conservation. And it wasn't until the lady was talking and she said, and, oh, by the way, natural resource index or inventory.
Inventory.
And she, you know, she kept on saying that. That's when it clicked that, oh, you know, Conservation Commission should.
So the planning board really had no idea that we should be involved,
Correct.
So-
which I see as being a problem in itself.
So
But,
should
so,
we?
in other words, it was not a slight.
No, I didn't think it was a slight. I thought it was a, you know, over to you, we're not
Yeah.
gonna deal with this, you take care of it.
Would it
And
be,
we weren't involved in the process.
right,
Which I think we should be involved in the process.
would it be appropriate for us to give a heads up to the planning commission and then attend one of their meetings and talk about what we'd like to do?
Perhaps that's a good idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Because, let's see, my contact is Jim Burrows, he's on the planning commission. But I can work to set that up at some point for a meeting with them. I don't know, and that's something we've got to discuss here. I think probably we're the least affected by Christina's absence. But the planning commission, she isn't going to be around for what, a couple of months?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Just, hopefully it's not serious.
Surgery.
surgery.
Something, shoulder rotator cuff.
Oh, maybe she'll
She's
be.
been kind of our connection to the planning.
Right.
board.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's, we should be working with them, it seems to me, if it's part of the process.
We can either go to them or we can invite them to come to us. They're out a lot, those guys, but,
Okay, what?
so I think we could go to them and just ask to be put on the agenda. And let me talk with Burrows, and then, who's the guy that's the head of the planning commission? The big,
Oh, that's David Burnham, and
Yes.
Ken Merrow is vice chair.
yeah, yeah. Well, I can talk to you.
And go to them as
Yeah.
a group?
I'd like to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense to me, sure. Because this is a big undertaking for the town and us. And it sounds to me like they're not doing anything with the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission.
Right, they listened to the lady once, and then when she gave them her numbers, they said, no.
Oh, they're expensive. They're expensive.
But or do we have the resources and the capability to do all this ourselves?
No. I think we can begin to gather some information, and then, once we know more about where we're going and what we can't do, that's when we bring somebody in. And I will tell you that, I know that's what that guy's gonna, the person's gonna do. They're gonna do the same thing we're doing. And if we have that done ahead of time, you could go into greater depth. So, that's my thought process anyway. How do you feel, Victor?
I think that's a good plan. I think, you know, even what, you know, to work concurrently or with them on the master plan, you know, what, I mean, yeah, parts of it relate to us, but some of our recommendations, you know, they don't, I don't think the planning commission even thinks about,
No.
you know, some of the, you know,
They do run across like wetlands and stuff like that, but they may not even know there are wetlands there. Process, so. In regards to that, it appears to me that we're gonna be footing the bill for this. We're not gonna get any assistance from the town.
So Christina told us that she was told that she should budget, or could budget,
Another year, that's another,
for next year.
next year.
Are
And we
we
need to
talking
do
about
that.
This or I'm sorry,
The NRI, we're gonna have to foot the bill. We're not gonna get any assistance from the town. so far. That could change. I mean, if it begins to make everybody look good, then, yeah, they're probably jumping on it. I know that sounds jaded, but I'm concerned. I mean, I'm concerned about, we don't want to be stepping on people's toes all the time. And part of what I say is, well, here's what we're looking at. I said, okay, if we're gonna foot the bill, you're not gonna tell us what to do. That's the other freedom that comes with that,
Yeah.
with that. But it's not that we won't get any assistance. I think he did tell her that we can budget for it. We'll also, and this is kind of off track a little bit, but we also, I had a good discussion with Paul Brown. How do we get some of the funding that we should be getting in terms of taxes coming in, tree tax, stuff like that? He said, well, right now, you don't get it. I said, well, how can we get it? He said, you'll have to develop a warrant article. We can do, and I guarantee we can get it passed. So, you say, if these taxes that they're talking about, if we say we want 10%, bring that in front of the town, they aren't gonna vote that down. I don't think. Because we're not asking for a rent building or anything of that nature. We're trying to get some money to support ourselves. That's why I really like what you were saying earlier about, we need outreach. We need to get out into the community, let them know what we're doing. I mean, at every chance now at a meeting, I talked about what you guys did last Saturday. They need to know we're active with that process.
Yeah, this is, I don't know if this is the time to bring it up, but I did want to get on record the activities that we've had since the last meeting. Is this the best time to bring that up, or would that be
Yeah.
new business?
Well, we have just new business now.
Okay.
That's what we're under.
All right. Okay, you're right. So I'd just like to get it on record. On the June 22nd, do we need names? Do Barry, Gunter, Ken Dennis, and we met with Dode Gladders, D-O-D-E, Gladders, and you know what Dode? Yeah.
Letters, G-L-A-D-D-E-R-S.
Yeah. To discuss the invasive plants, possibility of spreading them by performing work on the boardwalk that starts at the base of the ski jump. And I was told that because we had 4 people there, we needed to get this on record as we did not conduct any business. It was strictly educational. We didn't conduct any.
Right, because there was,
That's the point. Right, so we didn't conduct any business, no decisions were voted upon. It was strictly educational. And on the 24th of June, Barry, Gunter, and I, we didn't have a quorum at that point, but we worked with the rec department, PJ, and we installed, or helped to install, signs that were obtained by the town for the purpose of, what would you say, Gunter?
I think identifying the trails and
Trail.
parking areas.
Right, identifying trail heads
Yes,
and parking areas.
I think it's important.
At those
Also
trailheads.
include, what was the name of the intern?
Oh, Riley?
Riley.
Riley Scarron.
Scarron.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was.
Thank you, yeah. Yeah.
Very helpful.
Riley Scarron was there, yeah. And we did that at the trailheads at Summer Street, Cheney Street, the, what would you call that, the one at the base of the ski jump? What would you call that? That probably starts at the north end of the football field. I don't know that,
That's the
Town forest,
yeah.
Town forest at the high school.
yeah.
Yeah, that's, good, okay,
And the entrance, actually the entrance to the football field,
right.
Mhm.
we did some
Mhm.
signage there.
Right on the highway.
Yeah,
Right on the highway, yeah. And then we also did that at the covered bridge on Corbin Road.
and the rail trail, cut down.
Oh, right, we worked at the
At the-
rail trail, yes, yeah, by the rec center.
And that was all on the 24th?
Yes. And then on the 14th of July, Larry, Gunter, and I worked on improving the pinnacle to enhance the, what are we gonna call it? Enhance the, to make the area more inviting and to improve the view.
You may want to mention, and we're looking to go out again on that.
The 20, yeah, yep, the 29th is our next scheduled date to work up there. Because right now, I think it's more of a mess than it was. We dashed out because of the thunderstorm, right?
A little wet.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you.
So, how do we want to proceed on the master plan? Would our next step be, she didn't give us any new information, did
There wasn't any in the office. I went and got all of the
Yeah.
conservation.
she? So, I reviewed, and I know you guys did too, the stuff she gave us before. A lot of information, a lot.
Yep.
And some of it relates.
Barry,
Yes,
yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt.
no problem.
Was that emailed, that information about master plan?
She gave us excerpts from the plan at one of our meetings.
That was old. It's old information.
Okay, it goes
We,
back.
yeah, we can see that you get a copy of that. Yeah, we can
All
get
right,
you,
thank
we can get you a copy.
Oh, that's right, I think that was the last meeting. and
Yeah.
Larry wasn't
Yeah.
there for the
Um,
meeting.
Have the rest of you had a chance to review? I know you have, and Gunther has too.
I've gone through it a little bit, but I really haven't, she made me a copy of the full master plan.
Yeah,
And so I haven't
Got a
really just
copy.
looked at the independent pages
Yeah.
that you were given.
and she's still pulling stuff out,
Okay, so,
which we've got to make sure she gets done before she goes off. She is coming back this week, right?
I believe that she's coming back tomorrow.
Okay,
She has a meeting tomorrow night, so.
yeah, yeah. Zoning board.
Well,
Yeah.
that's zoning
Okay.
board.
Yeah.
now,
I'll try to get in to see her tomorrow when she's here and talk about what she's got. Kind of helpful with that. She's got a lot on her plate.
yeah,
And she only works so many hours a week supposedly. She works a lot.
Part-time, yeah, she's not full-time. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's more efficient use of our time now if we, at the next meeting, at least what we have, make sure all of us have taken a look at that and had any recommendations or items that they think are particularly important. Because some of this goes directly into with that process. So, what do you guys think? What's your pleasure on that?
I think that's probably a good idea, because
I know I've spent some time. I've looked at all of this. You need to spend more time with the maps that are there. Some of the maps are pretty sketchy. like the aquifer.
Yeah, they're hard to.
Yeah, I
yeah.
couldn't understand even where we
Yeah.
were with that process, so.
I'm always, again, I don't know if the rest of the commission is up for it, but this is almost another,
Special meeting.
thank you.
I would do that. I mean, I have no problem. If we want to meet and dedicate our time to two main areas, the master plan review and getting information about the NRI that he mentioned tonight. He was very helpful.
Yeah.
Very, very helpful.
A good start.
Yeah. And that's it, it's only a start. But I mean, if we decide we want to hire somebody, we don't have to ask anybody. We can hire them, tell Paul we'd like to check here.
With the money coming from our
Yeah,
conservation.
kind of, yeah. And so part of what I'm concerned about is 35,000 can go real fast,
Yeah.
okay? So I want to make sure we have a way of replenishing that money. And so that needs to always be on our mind, how we're going to bring money in. What's that?
Town, that line item.
Yeah, put the line item out there, and see where we are. And best I can do right now. I mean, I
Right.
talked, and this is what I hear. Well, I had a good conversation with Paul about how to get money. He had some ideas, but, so I guess you all know Paul's leaving.
Oh, no, I didn't know
Paul's
that.
gonna retire.
This summer?
No, we're trying to figure out when. But he's gonna retire fairly soon. As is Gunther.
Hunter.
Gunter's retired already.
Hunter.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. Hunter.
Right,
is
as
gonna
as are you, Don, right?
retire,
Yeah.
probably move on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
I just have one question. So, did the town budget any money, any funds for the master plan development?
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But that's an excellent question.
Well,
Because if they did, we should be, since a good portion of that, we should be entitled to some.
and could be used, that was a segue, could be used for an NRI.
Right.
Is the town obligated to do this, the master plan? Is there a, is
You
there
have to have an
an
app. Yes.
RSA that?
Yeah, you have to have a master plan. There's an RSA about the NRI,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I understand
Yeah.
that, right,
so.
yeah. So I guess my question was, if the town didn't budget any money for the master plan update, is
I'll
that
find out.
Is that something that can be delayed until money is budgeted?
Yeah.
Perhaps until 2023?
I don't think the planning board is moving too fast.
Yeah,
They're still on the survey.
Yeah, yeah,
which we probably want to be involved in.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's an excellent question. Let me see if I can find out some answers to that. I can ask Paul about that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Might be a source.
Yeah, well, it should be. They budgeted it. We're part of that master plan.
Yeah.
Good question, good comment.
Yeah.
Like that. All right, let me put this right at the top, all around. Here's why I say I don't think they have, because there's this tendency to say, well, if we need the money, we'll make sure it's there. So,
It gets ruled from somewhere. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Rob from Peter. and-
yeah, or unfunded, unfunded,
Oh, unexpended fund balance?
unexpended fund balance.
It's drawn out of that.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. Let's tap into that.
But our unexpended fund balance is going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lower than it's ever been.
Oh, wow.
And that's
It's a little
a lot
scary.
of legal stuff going on.
Okay.
So I'll ask Paul about, let's see, town budgeting.
Maybe I should bring this up now. I don't know if this is the appropriate time. So I was going back into, I think it's Gunter printed out all the annual reports to the Conservation Commission
Yes,
going
right.
back to its inception.
Yes.
And one of the treasurer's reports I came across in 2017, there was $21,401 removed from our budget, from the Conservation Commission fund. And if that's accurate,
You mentioned that.
I was wondering where that money went. So we went from
So there's
56,
a disbursement of 21,000.
yeah, it was $56,000 at the beginning of the year. $21,000 was expended, or removed.
Yeah. That's a good question for Paul, and I guarantee, Paul is not one that's gonna say, well, I don't remember. He remembers everything. That's a good question. So how do we wanna move ahead with that? Find out the answer to that.
Well, I kind of broached, because, as you mentioned, I brought it up previously, I kind of threw it to Linda, who was on the commission at the time, and she didn't seem to recollect that. I'm wondering where that money was, because expenditures from our fund have to be voted upon by the
By
commission.
the commission.
And if Linda has no recollection of that being, where that went, I'm wondering what transpired.
That might have been when they did the Meadow Center, and they had to pay for the whole, the town-wide assessment. That's the only large thing that I can remember them ever undertaking.
Now, would that have been just the Barton track, or the
Every single conservation.
Every,
property in the town, including Gilman Pond? And the funds that were derived from that cut went to the Public Works Department.
Correct.
not to us. I
Right.
was told.
But we paid, if we paid for the forest, you know where I'm going.
We'd have to ask, Linda knows whether or not we were reimbursed for that, but if we were, I don't remember it being on any of the treasurer's reports.
She said we
Can
were.
you give me a copy of
She
this?
told somebody
at
that.
some point?
You know how to make the photo, you know where the photocopier is?
Right behind you.
Hey, it's on.
Linda said that we were reimbursed, but
Just this page, basically?
I didn't see any further reports that indicated that money was put back into our fund.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe water over the dam, but it's something piqued my curiosity. So, Christina's going out just for a little while?
2 months.
2 months?
She tried to negotiate with her doctor, he said.
Wow. Assuming it's rotator cuff or something like that? Yeah.
All right, good.
Because we're all still learning some of the functions of what,
Thank you.
yeah.
All right, so that, what we're going to do is have a special meeting. We need to talk about when that might take place to cover master plan and discussion of proceeding with the natural resources.
Would that be the meeting that we asked Lionel to come to kind of
Yeah, it might be
educate
good,
us?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Larry, any comments? Can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, here I am. Yeah, no, whenever it's appropriate. But-
You think that's a good idea, or do you have another way of?
Well, again, this special meeting would be to cover what items?
Two items to cover master plan, what information we have from the master plan already in place that's in the master plan that concerns the Conservation Committee. Commission, okay, to discuss that and see what's there. The other would be the NRI, and that's where Lionel could give us the tutoring on how to get information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess. Do we have enough work in our regular meetings that this would require a special meeting?
We haven't even gotten to the rules of procedure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We keep deferring,
Yeah, sure.
we keep deferring items. I've seen it
I
last year.
I can also work a little bit with Lionel soon, you know, as I'm out there a lot, cross paths with him.
Good. That would be excellent.
Yeah, okay.
Then you
Yeah,
can
no,
teach us.
Whenever it's appropriate, that we should have another meeting.
This summer I'm open, so unless I'm with my grandson, I can be here.
Okay.
From here forward, I'm pretty free, too.
Good.
And we haven't worked on priorities.
That was gonna be my,
Yeah.
rules and procedures and then priorities.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Larry wanted to talk about the Corbin Covered Bridge. There's something
Yeah,
he
that,
wanted
right, too, yeah.
to speak about.
Why don't we, okay, let's take a look first at, we'll come back to this in terms of setting a date.
That sounds
All right.
good. Yep.
But let's take a look at rules and procedures review. Now, last time, she didn't give us a copy of things that she's changed already, has she?
Well, she's done 2 copies. Because I saw her yesterday, she gave me these.
It looked like they were corrected in the body of the agenda.
Yeah, these
or
are the
rather,
changes she made,
body
and
of
this
the
is the
minutes.
change
Yeah,
document.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are
Not
the
as a-
changes
a
that were
standalone
that's,
requested.
and that's the change
This is the
document.
change document, yes.
So does it make sense to view it in the context of the entire document, as
Yes.
Larry's alluding to?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was kind of
She
hoping.
did make
Yeah.
Is having
a
the whole
copy of,
reprinted document.
yeah, I tend to.
Is that it?
she,
Oh, I think they're right here. Because I see the little red. Yeah. Yeah, these are copies that she made. Yeah,
This is the,
those are with the changes, and this is the change document itself.
that's the document itself. Okay, so these are, yep, there's that one. And then
So
there's,
Gunther,
Yes,
you actually have a copy of the
Yes.
the corrected document?
actually, yeah, we have both copies here.
So the old language has been
updated.
there's strikeouts,
Yeah,
changes
marked
have been
in red.
highlighted in red.
And then the other document, which is the
That's the official one.
official document with those changes.
This one.
So this is the.
Yeah, I only
this
saw,
is the
I only
existing
saw
one?
it as it was part of the minutes.
This is existing.
This is the changed one,
Oh,
and
this is the.
Change.
you
one
should have been
where the
sent,
changes were made. If you
a
follow
full
these
copy of the
pages,
minutes,
like especially
I
this
mean,
next
of the
page,
rules of procedure, by email.
if you go to the next-
So
When
this
was
is,
that sent out
this
to
is
you?
the document with these changes made.
Yesterday.
Right, this is what was
This
added.
just highlights the
2 was
changes.
removed,
Okay,
or 2 was added.
okay.
And we put further.
do
So
we-
these are the changes,
Right.
July
and
19.
anything in red on this one has been changed.
So like 3 attendance, where's attendance?
That, the only email I got on July
This
19th
is all-
was the agenda with the minutes, and those changes were in part of the body of the minutes.
Yeah, I didn't receive this by email either, Larry, so I don't,
Yeah, and then this is the official.
Yeah,
I don't
which I
believe
think
this.
would be easier for me to eventually vote on, see the whole corrected or amended document.
So
I'll
maybe
need that
this,
email.
maybe this should be deferred to the next meeting.
How can we get this to you?
Well, I get the emails, it's just that
This was-
the
yeah.
one that Moore is alluding to, the full document with the revisions did not come as...
No.
Okay, I just sent it to you.
Okay, thank you. The email I got on the 19th had 2 copies of the agenda.
Yeah,
and a copy of the minutes, but it did not have there. Now I've gotten the, what Maura just sent to me.
It still has the red, it's
Those
not
two copies you're
the,
looking at.
the other one.
So he doesn't have the complete copy. He
No.
doesn't, he's got the red, which are the changes, but now we have an official, what might become the official document has been
Right, what I
printed.
have
But
was
first you have to go through
was
the
what
red.
everybody else had in
Yeah,
the minutes.
just in the minutes.
And it kind of just had the key, key sections, but it didn't have the document from
Yeah.
Article 1 right through.
This,
I'd like to read it, in its entirety
not right at this moment.
before I vote on it.
Yeah, I would too. So maybe we should defer this to the next
Yeah,
meeting.
because I have additional changes to make, if you would consider them.
And this one technically should
We
have,
ought to look at that tonight.
have the draft, this should be noted that it's a draft. Because now
Yes,
we've
I
got,
did not-
now we've got
This
one,
is
so,
draft. This is the.
this one doesn't say draft. This one should
Right.
say draft on it because it is still a draft.
Oh, this
When,
is the.
I've seen this
final.
100 times when articles like this start floating around and they haven't been adopted, next thing you know, they're adopted. People
Right.
think they're adopted, so.
Well,
this-
that's one that Christina copied, and I don't know why she
With the
didn't
changes.
keep the draft on there like
Until we
the first
vote,
one.
until we vote on it, it should be,
A draft.
it is a draft, right?
All right, so you have additional things that you want to have on it?
that I wanted you to consider. And I had sent it to Christina and asked her to copy it, but lo and behold, I did not realize that she
Sure.
was out.
Yeah. So, do we want to entertain the proposed changes that Maura's looking at tonight with that?
And then we could vote on it.
And we
at
could
the
vote
next
on
meeting.
everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds
You
reasonable.
ready to tell us what you want to change? And we'll add those changes if we adopt them.
Well, I have them on my phone and I can send it to you via email
Okay.
so that you will all have, okay, but the first thing, this just says Conservation Commission Rules of Procedure.
Yeah.
At the top, because I looked at other commissions, I put Newport, New Hampshire, and then Conservation Commission Rules of Procedure.
That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah? Okay.
Still on the first page under Article 4 Mission, second paragraph, at least it's second paragraph for me.
I was gonna say, my article.
I only have one, I only have one
Sec-
paragraph.
Where it
Oh,
begins
okay.
with town.
Let's see, the two, okay, it's just the same two that's on here,
Yeah,
okay?
so that's okay.
That's okay. Let's see. Article 6, membership, under member terms. Towards, okay, so approximately 1/3 of the members' terms expire
You.
on the same year, not yearly, on the same year. It makes it, and then cross out yearly, terms begin on July 1st and end on June 30th. Do you understand why I'm
No.
saying that?
Yeah,
Okay.
here's the
Yeah.
thing that I'm wondering right now. Can we specifically held into a 2-year term, not a 3-year?
The RSA may speak to this.
No, it says 3 years. It's just that, instead of saying yearly,
Yeah, I
say
got
terms
that.
expire on the
Yeah.
same year.
Capital
If every
T.
3 years is more than yearly, that's your point.
Oh.
No, right? Am I right about that?
No, I'm just changing the.
So to scratch out yearly in the last sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me,
Capital,
right?
capital T.
Because you can't have them every 3
Yeah.
years,
And
but the
then
terms
terms.
begin on the, every year, okay.
Okay, down at the bottom of alternate member, the alternate member shall, and then in parentheses I put, for consideration, be appointed by the chair for the meeting. And, just like a planning board, zoning board, if you have alternates,
We didn't say shall, we said may. We changed that to may.
no, you don't want may, you want shall. I listened to that argument for too many meetings.
Well, shall is mandatory, may is,
Right.
right. It's optional. So is it mandatory that they join up for the meeting? I don't,
No.
it said,
If they serve in the absence or disqualification of a regular member, the alternate member shall be appointed. So in order for him to have voting power, he has to be appointed by the chair. That's the reason for the shall.
the second shall. There's two shalls here we're talking about.
No, this is talking about voting powers.
This is,
Okay, so here's what we have. We have alternate members of the commission may join the regular members
understand that?
in meetings. Okay, that's why it's gotta be may. Because alternate members of the commission may join the it's giving them permission to
Right.
join. Okay? Join the regular members in, and we had all, but no, it's meetings, in meetings, public hearings, and discussion. When the alternate member serves in
Oh, no,
the,
no, no, I see that one. Yeah, it's may up there, okay?
yeah,
And then the last sentence. So I think it starts with when.
Can I just make a suggestion? Because Larry's not here to see
Yeah,
this. Would it make sense to have this draft with your suggestions put in a different font, color, something that distinguishes it from the changes that we made? And then you send this out to us so we can all review that? It would to me.
have Christine do it. Christina.
Christina, whoever does it, yeah. Who's gonna do it when Christina's gone?
probably.
Right. I'm just saying that that gives us all the opportunity to sit at home, read this, mull them
So,
over.
in other words, you would like this copy to be sent to all the members.
So that copy,
But highlighting in a different color what you've changed.
right, so your suggestions are clear to everyone.
I-
So, you're gonna,
Yeah.
You're gonna
I will
get
do
that now?
I'll do that.
okay.
You
And
get that, Larry?
Larry?
Yeah, I missed some of that, but it sounds like we're gonna get another copy emailed to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep,
So Mara's recommending changes,
Yeah,
so Mara's gonna include her recommended changes in this draft version that we have that you were just sent for our consideration between now and the next meeting.
Right, then
Yes.
I'll put my name down at the bottom, like there's Newport Conservation Commission, Rules of Procedure, then the page, there's also underneath the Rules of Procedure, it says July 14th. And so on that second line, either before or after that, I'll put my name.
Okay, we'll know that that's,
Okay.
okay,
Good.
good.
That way we can just review your comments and look at
And
our comments.
there's, like I said, there's a signature page that I got off of the.
Good.
Bird.
I like that, yeah. Excellent.
This is-
So, next, we'll have this for next meeting. I've got two things. I've got change, these are the things that were changed, and then I've got a draft that supposedly all the changes were made on, and then now we're gonna have another one that will have changes, and then eventually we'll be putting together a draft that may become official.
The date should be revised too, Maura,
Right.
on your version?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
we're getting there.
Now, one of the, we'd asked to have priorities listed,
Yeah.
and let's begin a discussion. What should be our priorities as a commission so that we're not running hither and yon and not getting things done and completed? Did you guys come up with any priorities? Because I did.
I gotta be honest, I hadn't really thought about it a lot. Just the one thing that kept in my mind was getting out and getting the properties tagged.
We have to do that.
Because
In fact, that's got to be done this fall. We've got to go to every property, and we can divide it up and do a survey of that property, and there's something that needs to be filled out that will be sent into the state.
So, Barry, before you joined the second time, most recently, I contacted the people at the Land Conservation Stewardship Program. I just so happen to know the person that has taken over that program and communicated with Christina. And I invited them to come to do that with us. We had intended to do it in the spring, and we never got around to getting out and becoming familiar enough with the boundaries to take them out and lead them. So that is on my, and again, I don't know if that's their prerogative to come, whether we want them to or not. But we decided at that time that we would defer that until the fall. And then we were going to try to get out before that and become familiar enough with the boundaries. So this is just some background.
The only person that is familiar right now, because who's the surveyor that was on this? He was
Don
great.
Cliff Richard.
Cliff
Cliff
Richard.
Richard.
Cliff. I love that guy. I mean, there was no bull with him, straightforward. But he knew where everything was. The other one is Ken Dennis, that knows where most of this stuff.
Most of it.
Yeah.
He
We need
refers
to-
to Cliff.
Yeah, we need to find out, even if we invite Cliff back.
I'd like to do that prior to inviting the
Yes,
stay
land use,
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've got to find those, that's the thing that, one of my priorities was finding out where, I don't even know where these lands are.
It's on my list too,
Yeah.
right?
At least two of us.
Probably on Larry.
Yeah. So we need to find out where they are, and before it gets too cold, and ice is out there. So I have to worry about falling now, apparently. So my wife tells me, "You're falling." We need to get out, and we've got to submit to the state. We're supposed to have been in by now, but we got a dispensation to have it.
Well, it's within the calendar year, I believe.
Yeah. So, I don't know if Christine has that all, that information.
Yes, in the conservation file cabinet, there are the red folders. And it has the forms inside for people to fill out. And then they're scanned and I don't know if they fax them or whether they're emailed.
I think it would be good for all of us to get together and go to these places.
Absolutely.
And that way we know, we're supposed to have stakes up there. I know that last year they worked on that.
Larry and I started on one property prior to the spring foliage blooming, and it's pretty tough. Larry and I just went to the Wells property.
Yeah, okay.
We were able to track some of it, but some of it was brutal. Just trying to find it is really tough. But, yeah, I think getting Kenny and Cliff, that's
Yeah.
great, let's do it. Let's do it, let's get them out there.
Okay, so when do we want to do this? I don't like leaving things open-ended.
Right.
Put some closure to it.
Cliff goes back and forth to Cape Cod in the summer, so you gotta catch him in between. And-
Where is he on Cape Cod? Because I go a lot on the Cape Cod. So I go see him, hey Cliff. Yeah.
Maybe we could start with Ken.
Yeah, well, I think that's where we should
Ken knows
start.
the
I don't know why
boundaries.
he's not here tonight. Yeah.
I thought you said he wasn't a member at this point.
He is.
He is a member?
Well, unless he has to be sworn in. Maybe he didn't get
Maybe
sworn
that's why,
in.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's better, maybe that's why.
Because it was just Monday night that we voted him in.
No, good.
So,
So I think that's a priority on all our lists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not just the land, you're more concerned with the boundaries.
That's what we're
lines.
supposed to do, review the boundaries and know where things are.
Right, well, Christina had tags,
Yeah.
little plastic tags that the Land Conservation Stewardship Program people want us to put up on those properties. Prior to doing that, we need to contact the property owners.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
Yeah, we don't want to be just running around.
You know, right.
It is conservation land, so it's,
Right, but I think it's important to let them know.
yeah.
But I'm inclined to think that after the leaves come off the trees, that's the best time to go.
Okay.
I know that's putting it a little late, but maybe as soon as we can in October.
Yeah, let's talk with Ken and set things up
Yeah.
for October.
Yeah.
And we could accomplish two things. We could get out and do our due diligence on the land, on the markets.
We need to get somebody to contact these property owners.
Well, if I knew who they were.
Me too. I don't know either.
Yeah.
Although Maura did give me the information for I think Yeoman property. Right?
Yeoman's property.
Yeah,
The
I think
Hagel
Larry
bushes.
knows the owner of the Yeoman property. Don't you, Larry? Did you tell me that?
The Hagel bushes,
Yeah, Jerry and Chris Hagbush.
Yeah, so that one's easy.
Oh, I know.
Wells is different story. I think they live in California, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I
if
think,
you read the red book, it's supposed to have a copy that
Everything.
will tell you how they contacted, or if they contacted, or...
I didn't see many where...
I don't think they've
Yeomans were
contacted in the past.
No, I don't think
No.
they were getting contacted.
No, they've just gone.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a priority, has to be, to review conservation land boundaries. And we're gonna look to the fall for that. Okay, any other priorities? I had, the first thing that came to my mind was money. How, you know,
Line item?
the line item, making sure that takes place, that's gotta be a priority. And I would, you know, I was talking, maybe putting in $1,200, I'm thinking more like, okay, let's put in 5,000. But I wanna see what the tax situation is first.
I had the money on my list also, but I broke it into two parts. Building a land conservation fund with money that's tagged strictly for, to be spent for the conservation, purchase of conservation land and/or conservation easements.
Yes.
And then the
That's
other,
really what that 32,000 was supposed to be for, but,
I can't find any documentation that says that.
Yeah.
Certain. The other would be to obtain an operating budget, which would
yeah, that's what
probably
I'm talking about.
be the line item.
Yeah.
And reading the New Hampshire Association Conservation Commission handbook about this, he said it's very common for unexpended monies in the operating budget to be rolled into the land conservation fund on an annual basis. So if you budget 2,000 and you spend 1,600,
That rolls over.
roll the 400 in and you can
Yeah.
build it gradually
Build it
down.
gradually up. That's the way we should budget.
If that's something that we could try to
Mhm.
obtain, that would be great.
Yeah. Good. So, money, the NRI, we can't drop the ball on that, but,
NRI, for sure.
yeah. And so, in regards to that, one of our first duties underneath that, priorities underneath that, would be to meet with the planning board.
Develop a relationship with them.
Yeah. So, in regards to that, we're gonna look as a group to attend one of their future meetings.
Okay.
They're pretty busy right now. They got a lot of stuff going on, but, you know, Tom would like to just have maybe 20 minutes to talk to them about. And Burnham, what's his first name?
David Burnham,
David.
Ken Merrill, Tobin Menard.
Yep.
Jim Burrows.
Yep.
I was just there. How many is that?
4. Is Bird on that? No.
No, he's on Zoom. Well, he's an alternate.
What's his name? Kibby's gonna get done, I think.
Ray Kibbe.
Yeah. He's gonna get done, but
That's who the other one is.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it was Ray, Jim, Ken, Ray, Bird.
Incidentally, you guys know Herb Teller, right? He was
Mhm.
on this. Did you know his wife passed away?
I saw the obituary.
I did not see that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're having some sort of a ceremony, graveside ceremony, August 6th, I believe it is. And then they'll have a thing at the courthouse after. Yeah.
So we're going to a wedding on the 6th.
Yeah.
So if I can just add in, developing an NRI is a priority, but as a sub-priority to identify the town's wetlands.
Yes. That's one of the things I think we can begin to, let's just focus on that for right now in terms of the NRI, without getting into the other things.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of other things to look at, but let's just see what we can do with the wetlands.
It's a resource, so
Yeah.
can nail that one down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good start.
All right. Good.
I had public education,
That was one of mine.
outreach, and public relations.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are watching tonight, but we really want the public to know that we're a very active group that's trying to work to the benefit of the town in terms of conservation and finding out the resources we do have. Yeah, public relations. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things.
Larry, did you have any?
Hey, nah, I really didn't give strong thought, you know.
Okay, that's okay.
I think in terms of the master plan and everything we do long-term is, you know, should be geared to make the town, you know, inviting and attractive for new home, new residents. But
Good.
other than just a general kind of philosophy, I don't have a goal.
Okay.
I had one last, and I don't know if it rises to the level of this list. The town has an ordinance. It's I think it's a planning or zoning ordinance, but it's, covers conservation properties. There's a list of conservation properties in Newport that are included in that are protected by that ordinance.
Yeah, isn't that what we're talking about with the review?
Of the,
Where the lands are?
no, those are separate properties.
Okay,
So we have 4 properties that are covered by conservation easements.
okay.
The town forest, which is right above the ski jump,
Yeah,
up to Summer Street, is actually protected by the Barton deed.
mm-hmm,
The Barton deed refers to that, so that should be one of the properties. So those are 5 properties that are protected by easements.
Are you saying we need to identify those, or
No.
they're already identified?
So in addition to those properties, there are a number of properties that are protected by this ordinance. and it's called Conservation District. And I didn't bring it with me.
And didn't Christina give a handout with all the different
She did.
areas?
She took maps, and some of them are very tiny. The stretch of land between New Jalisco's and the bridge, you know, the bridge that goes across where people fish, that is one of them, between the highway and the river, and New Jalisco and the bridge. But there's a couple of them out along the railroad tracks.
Okay.
And I think it's 3 separate parcels.
And they're protected by the Conservation District
There's an
ordinance?
ordinance that says Conservation District, it's under planning or zoning, I can't remember which. Again, as Mara pointed out, Christina printed out maps of those properties. I just thought,
I don't have them.
yeah, I just thought monitoring them might be of value, which would mean just identifying them and going out and walking on them.
Walking on.
Just to ensure that, I don't know if anybody's doing that.
No?
And I don't, to me, it makes sense for us to go out and kind of police it, I guess.
Good. Conservation District, does that entail Lionel involvement?
I don't know how it came about. For some reason, the powers that be at the time decided to, it was actually put to a town goal, I believe. They created a conservation district and these properties ended up in it. So,
All right, so that has to be, that's, so we got 1, 2, 3. Under NRI, we've got to develop a relationship. And then wetlands under NRI. And then we've got 4, we've got public relations. And then 5, we have conservation district ordinance properties.
but they're just, Barry, for your, just so you can see, could you show them those maps? I can see you have them right there, right?
Oh,
Those are the maps.
this is all the actual property cards
Yeah,
with the map on the back.
right. So this was
I might have.
right
No.
before you came, Barry, I believe.
Mhm.
Maybe we could get copies of that to Barry at some point.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to get in here tomorrow and talk with Christina about all of these things, just so she's aware of it. And so, Maura, my understanding is, in her absence, you're gonna kinda sit in that chair rather than that chair back there?
She was asking about that. I don't know.
You gonna sit in her office?
I don't know. She asked me to consider it.
Yeah. Because part of the issue is broader than just this commission. You've got planning board, zoning board, you got people who are waiting for votes. That's gotta be done. You know, they talked about, well, we just won't meet, the planning board said we won't meet for these, well, you gotta, you know, you gotta meet. I think probably this commission sort of the least affected by it, as long as you show up, we're okay.
Well, we need somebody who knows
Yeah.
what's going on,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you do.
Well, so it's fair.
No, I mean, I get into it. My involvement is often just holding my tongue. Trust. You know, I just want to make sure that we're able to have discussions with the administration and not have it be from a negative perspective, but from the perspective, we're all working on this together. And that happened, you guys don't have any idea the effect that you had on going out to the Pinnacle. And people know about it. Hunter was ecstatic that we were out there, you guys were out
Yeah, Todd Collier came out to say hi.
there. Yeah, did he? Didn't do any work. Okay.
So can I have those 5 priorities one more time?
Sure. Land conservation, under that would be the review of conservation land boundaries.
So with the yellow properties.
Right. Building land conservation land, budget for that,
Okay,
a budget for, in other words, the purchase of land, and then a yearly operating budget.
yeah,
3 would be the NRI.
Yep.
Under that would be, we're going to start with the wetlands, and also develop a relationship with the planning board, meet with them and talk to them. And then, 4 is public relations. Did I say that already? No.
Came out, right?
Yeah, public relations. And 5 is the Conservation District Ordinance, find out more about those properties and a lot of those properties. I think 5 is a good number to start with.
yes.
It's plenty.
Yeah.
It's a lot to chew.
Yeah.
And then real quick, since Larry is being so patient, you want to talk about the
Rich?
bridge?
Larry, you had something you wanted to talk about?
Well, this is only quick, and it's not really our purview, but I was only thinking of this as we have participated in the erection of all those nice new kiosks around town with the rec department. The kiosk out at the Corbin Covered Bridge, where information about the trail will go, got me thinking, back in 2019, which is quite possibly the last time the Memorials and Monuments Committee met, on the agenda was naming the park by the covered bridge. And I can't find in minutes from that meeting, and in my sort of cursory review, I couldn't find what happened, if that got moved up the chain of command, or what happens after it goes through the Monuments Committee. But given that there's a new kiosk erected, there's going to be new signage for trails, this might be a good time to think about revisiting that. If there's going to be a naming of that park, maybe the kiosk is a place to name it, but there was a proposal to name the park Reed Andrews Park.
Can you
And
explain?
again, it's probably not our purview, but I thought we should, as citizens too, we could just find out what happened with that.
It did pass.
Oh,
It did pass?
It did pass, yeah.
it was approved, the name was approved? Did you hear that, Larry?
It was approved.
I did. I don't know where it was. There were no minutes on the town website. And if it was approved by, you're saying by the committee, the Monuments Committee?
Yep. Biddy Irwin was
gonna say
chair
Biddy
at the
would know.
time.
So what happens, is that it? Then the park just needs to get a sign and we put it up?
From my recollection, that was,
Or does that have to go
there was
into
the
the Board of
deliberation
Selectmen?
either in the fall or in the winter, and it was going to be, everything was going to be taken care of that spring.
Well, nothing's happened, and and with the new kiosks, this might be a good time to think, if that's something we can prod somebody to move forward, if the sign would look nice on that kiosk, naming within the park, and maybe even getting Ray Reed out and, having a small ceremony sometime.
I think that first thing is to contact Biddy and ask her about the minutes, or, because, like I said, she was chair, she would know what the
Well, I
vote
thought you
was.
said it was approved.
Yes, but she will be able to give you the definitive, because I was not in the meeting, okay?
All right. there's nothing in the select board meetings.
No.
You know, the immediate meeting after that.
No,
Who would need to approve that?
Just the monuments.
just the monuments, and I believe that Bill Wilmot, if anybody who knows him, he was on the committee at the time.
I don't even know if it's an active committee.
Pardon?
I don't know if it's an active committee.
So if you can find minutes that the Heritage Commission approved that name,
No, monuments.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
and I think that Larry just said that he could not find any.
Well, they're not on the public, they haven't been put on the town webpage, but there may be minutes in a 3-ring binder somewhere, aren't there?
Right.
I mean, what,
There could be an official document, is what he's saying, somewhere that he just hasn't been able to
In
find.
Vinnie's computer.
but I also don't know what the chain of command or the
Right.
procedure is. Once it's approved by the Monuments Committee, is it a done deal, or does it still have to go to the Board of Select, or what happens with it after that?
I'm not sure.
And Larry and I will just get a sign made and we'll whip it up there.
I'll vote for that.
But again, I think with the new kiosk, it would be a good time, you know, to
Yeah.
move that forward too, you know,
Yeah, I think,
tie everything together, name the park, put up a sign, get all the new maps on the
Kathy
kiosks,
Baird
and,
And,
you know, that all would tie
and
together,
Larry Shisha.
Is what?
well, I think. So you recommend we contact Biddy Irwin to find out what happened?
Yeah,
do you want to do that, Larry?
All right. I'll take that on my shoulder, yes, sure.
Thank you.
It's really
And-
not our,
It's not our purview, but I would turn it over,
Exactly.
I would turn it over
Only
to
in
the
as much
rec,
as we
talk
got
to the
those
rec
nice new
department.
kiosks, I thought maybe we could talk about it, because you know, you'd educate me as to what happens next.
Did you talk to PJ? Because I had mentioned that to Larry, that maybe you should talk to PJ. Because that is a, but this, I don't know if the rec department, did you ever talk to PJ on that?
I did.
Uh,
What was I supposed to talk to him about?
Well, I suggested you talk to PJ to see if he knew how that would work. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
Because
if
if it's
that's-
gonna go up on the kiosk, he would want to know about that.
Yeah, but we kind of see a
Yeah,
perfect
and that's fine.
location for it.
He may not want it, but I'm saying though that
Oh, I
this
think
would
he
be a
would.
good time to try and tie a lot of things together.
Good, I think
Okay,
that's,
I'll take that on my, I'll put that on my to-do list.
all
You
right.
might want to touch base with PJ and see if he has any
I
words of
will.
wisdom. Yeah, okay.
I'll pity you, PJ.
Good. All right, so we are, in terms of our next meeting, we meet in, when's the next meeting? Do you know?
August, third week of August, whatever that is.
3rd week of August?
Third Wednesday of August.
She won't be here.
Looks like the 17th.
Yeah, Christina won't be here.
yeah, it will be the 17th.
So we are going to, we're going to get a copy of the rules of procedure, and we'll come here the next time prepared to have a discussion and a possible vote on the adoption of rules and procedures. Okay? That make sense?
Yes.
All right. We are going to deal with continuation of the master plan review
Yep.
at the next meeting. I think also the 5 items that we have identified as priorities, we need to begin to talk about how we're going to make them come to fruition.
Strategy for.
Yeah. For completion of those. So there's 3 items. Because I want to make sure, because this last time, I know Larry had to, and I think you did too, Christina was in the habit of just making up the agenda. At our level, with the selectmen, we always get a notice to give input into the agenda. And so we need to make sure before any agenda is developed, and I don't know who the heck's going to do it right now. Possibly you. I don't know. We need to be
I
able to
thought that
get,
it was the chairman.
I have no problem. No problem. I can create agendas.
I'm not far away either.
Right. Just across the street. Hey.
And it's not even a quorum, so there you go.
Yeah. So, I want us to make sure that we get input into the agendas. That you don't have to be writing and saying, I thought this was gonna, that
Yeah,
you give input,
I do that as well,
Yeah.
Christina.
yeah, a day ahead, or more than a day.
Preferably a week.
A week.
Yeah.
What do you have? Because Joanne sends out a notice. What, do you have anything to add to the agenda? And then we review
I
it.
suggest a notice as well, Tom. You know, just a little
Yeah,
prompt, anything you want on the agenda.
yeah.
That would be excellent.
Okay. So that's the beginning of developing an agenda for next time. That'll be in the minutes. And anything else for the good of the order? I want to thank you again, Larry, for bringing Lionel to us. I think he's going to be a great resource for us as we move ahead.
Yeah, good. I also, sometime down the road, we might want to get Seth Wilner, a town resident,
Yeah.
cooperative extension, to come perhaps talk to us. There may be some germane things he has to bring.
I like that. Seth's a good man.
Yeah.
All right, good. That's a good
I move that
suggestion.
we adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
All those, oh, Larry, we got to go around, roll call. Aye or nay?
Oh. Yeah, aye.
Aye,
Aye.
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 All right, good.
Unanimous.
See y'all.
Thank you, Larry.